I'm Lieutenant Cody Brown, we call sign Handy. Born in Florida, grew up in Virginia, family of 6. I had 3 brothers, so 4 boys. Dad was a longtime military guy in the submarine warfare type. Older brother's a helicopter pilot, younger brother's a submariner, and the other guy's in the civilian life. I think, going through college and getting the chance to play baseball and being part of a brotherhood, I thought in my next kind of job, my next phase of life, I really liked that kind of fraternal aspect. I didn't really know much about the aviation world, but talking to my brother, who was a helicopter pilot in the Navy, and he was in a squadron, and he talked about kind of that fraternal kind of brotherhood, sisterhood atmosphere. So that really drew me into aviation. I never really had the long dream of being a pilot or being a tactical jet pilot, but it was really looking for that kind of family connection, that brotherhood that you have in squadrons like you're used to growing up to playing sports. I was fortunate enough to get a aviation contract through the Navy. So when I got commissioned in 2013, I got the chance to go down to Pensacola, Florida, and start my Navy flight training. So I started flying the Cessna 172 to the T6 Texan, and then that whole way through thought I was going to be a helicopter pilot. But the last minute, I told my wife that I thought I was going to go jets, and then ended up selecting EA-18G Growlers out of Whidbey Island, Washington. The EA-18G is the newest variant of the Super Hornet, so it's the same frame as the F-18 Foxtrot, which is what the majority of people out there kind of think about when they hear the Super Hornet. Their primary mission is fighter attack. So they get to carry a lot of bombs, a lot of air-to-air missiles. They're usually the first guys in and the last guys out. Our mission is more of electronic attack, electronic support, the suppression of enemy air defenses. So if we do our job right, we're going to help our brothers and sisters out in front of us, the strike fighter guys, get to where they need to go and execute their mission safely and get out safely. What makes the Growler unique is instead of carrying, a bunch of weapons to include guns or IR missiles or big bombs or JDAMs, we kind of get a more of electronic suite in our jet. Instead of having a cannon or a gun in the nose like the traditional Foxtrot Super Hornet does, we kind of just have a little bit more technology to help us execute that suppression of enemy air defenses. We also don't have the ability to carry wingtip missiles. If you notice in the Growler, we kind of have big old pod looking things out there, and that's just kind of adding to our capability of electronic attack. What makes the Growler also very unique is it's the only kind of tactical jammer in kind of the US military. There's a lot of good electronic support assets out there, like a compass call and things like that can definitely help in that sense of the battle space. But the Growler specifically in the Super Hornet frame can kind of carry the same kind of mission set, same kind of electronics, but we can go faster, we can launch off carriers, and we can't self-protect. So we still get to carry some air-to-air missiles, some AIM-120s, and then we also can carry AGM-88 HAR missiles, which are kind of air-to-ground missiles. So it's kind of that tactical electronic support, electronic attack, which is what makes the Growler so unique as a platform. The Navy has an awesome tradition with call signs. We're kind of different from the Air Force in that sense, where the Air Force gets some pretty cool call sign like Viper or Heater or something like that sounds pretty cool, tactical cool. The Navy is a very humbling organization, especially in the tactical jet squadron or a fighter jet squadron, and so the majority of the Navy's call signs kind of make fun of either A, maybe your personality, or B, maybe something you've done or messed up on to really humble you. I got finished learning to fly the Growler in 2018, where I got forward deployed in Naval Forces in Iwakuni, Japan in about 2018. I was there for 3 years, so 2018 till about 2021. The carrier is made up of a handful of squadrons, about 4 to 5 fighter attack VFA guys, 1 Growler squadron, and then E-2 Delta squadron, and then a handful of helicopter squadrons. A typical day on the carrier, so usually a 12-hour window of flight operations. That starts about 1400, 2 p.m. in the afternoon, and that goes to about 2 a.m. You usually fly about twice, usually a day flight and a night flight. Before you fly, you have a few hours of mission planning. You go out and you do one of the sorties, and it could be an hour and a half sortie, or it could be close to a 4-hour sortie, just depending on the mission. And then after the end of that, you'll land on the boat. And if that was your first flight of the day, then guess what? In a couple hours, you'll do it all over again, and do that all over again the next day for 6 months. What's interesting about my career in the Navy is, having the chance to deploy so many times and be on the USS Ronald Reagan so many times. I got the chance to really rack up a lot of flight hours, get a lot of experience at the boat, and log about 300 carrier arrested landings. So I'm pretty proud of my carrier aviation heritage, I guess, that I have in my career, and how much time I got to be at sea and how many times I launched off the front of the aircraft carrier.